Have you ever felt powerless in a negotiation? Have you ever felt like you were always being pushed into a corner or unable to reach deals that benefit you? Don't worry, you're not alone. In this video, I'll show you some incredibly effective negotiation tactics, developed and taught at Harvard, that you can immediately apply to achieve the best results in any negotiation. Whether you're negotiating a salary, buying a car, or negotiating at work, these negotiation tactics will help you feel more confident, take control of the situation, and reach favorable agreements. Today, I'll share with you each specific negotiation tactic, along with real-life examples so you can apply them directly to your own situations. Let's explore the negotiation tactics that Harvard has used to help millions of people become masters at achieving great deals. In this video, you won't just learn the theory, but you'll also be able to apply the most effective negotiation skills right away. Let's get started. Before we dive into the tactics, it's important to understand a little bit about their origins. These negotiation tactics are not temporary tricks or short-term advice. They were developed over many years of research by a team of experts at the Harvard Negotiation Project, one of the most prestigious negotiation research organizations in the world. The Harvard Negotiation Project was established with the goal of helping people resolve negotiations in their personal and professional lives more effectively. Their research has shown that negotiation is not a battle, but a process of collaboration, where both sides can win if handled correctly. What's special about these tactics is that they are not just based on theory, but have been tested through countless real-life situations. They allow you to apply them directly to everyday negotiation situations, from negotiating contracts and salaries to discussions in your personal life. So, let's dive into the important tactics that Harvard has developed and see how they can change the way you negotiate. Now, we'll go into the details of each tactic. Tactic 1, BATNA, Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. The first tactic I want to share with you is one of the most powerful tactics, BATNA, Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. This is an extremely important tactic because it helps you maintain control and confidence in any negotiation. BATNA is simply your backup plan if the negotiation doesn't lead to the desired outcome. In simpler terms, BATNA is the alternative option you can pursue if you don't reach an agreement in the negotiation. And the reason it's important is that it ensures you never feel forced to accept an unfavorable deal. Imagine you're buying a used car. The seller quotes $10,000, but before you go to the store, you've found a similar car for $9,000 elsewhere. That car is your BATNA, your backup option. Knowing that you have another choice, you can negotiate with the seller and offer a more reasonable price. Similarly, when negotiating a salary with a company, if you have another job offer with a higher salary, you can use it as your BATNA. This not only makes you feel more confident when requesting a higher salary, but also gives you the leverage to easily walk away if the company doesn't meet your expectations. So, BATNA helps you maintain power in the negotiation. It allows you to make decisions without being swayed by emotions or pressure. When you know you have a better alternative, you can negotiate more confidently and strategically. Always remember, before every negotiation, you need to clearly identify your BATNA, and that will help you negotiate like an expert. Now, let's move on to the second tactic. Tactic 2, Anchoring. The anchor point. The next tactic I want to share with you is anchoring, also known as the anchor point. This is an incredibly powerful and simple tactic that helps you take control of the negotiation right from the start. Basically, anchoring is a tactic where you introduce a number or an initial offer in the negotiation, and that number will anchor the negotiation to a specific range. Studies show that the first number you present will have a significant impact on the subsequent numbers and can guide the direction of the negotiation. For example, let's say you're selling a sofa on Craigslist. You want to sell it for $300, but instead of starting with that price, you list it for $500. That is your anchor point. When the buyer sees the $500 price, they will perceive it as the reference point, and all your subsequent offers will be compared to that number. Suppose you're buying a house, and the seller asks for $300,000. But you decide to start the negotiation by offering $250,000. This will help steer the negotiation toward a lower price because the seller will likely adjust their price based on the number you've introduced. So, why is anchoring such a powerful tactic? Simply because people are strongly influenced by the first number they hear. Even if that number doesn't reflect the actual value, it will shape the other party's expectations and perception during the negotiation. One important thing when using anchoring is that the number you present needs to be reasonable. If you introduce a number that's too high or too low, the other party might feel unconvincing or pressured, which could break the negotiation. Start with a solid number, but one that's still high enough to help you secure a favorable deal. So, are you ready to use anchoring in your negotiations? Remember, the first number you present can completely change the course of the negotiation. Now, let's move on to the third tactic, win-win. Tactic 3. Win-win versus zero-sum. The next tactic is one of the most important tactics in negotiation, and that is win-win. This is not just a tactic, but also a mindset in negotiation. It is the complete opposite of the zero-sum approach, where there is only one winner and the other side loses. In a zero-sum situation, parties always think that if one side gains something, the other side must lose something of equal value. But with the win-win tactic, you no longer view the negotiation as a battle. Instead, you focus on creating a solution that benefits all parties. Both sides can win without sacrificing anything. Imagine a scenario between a small business owner and a supplier. The business owner wants a discount to be more competitive in the market, while the supplier wants more orders to increase profit. Instead of just arguing over the price, they find a win-win solution by signing a long-term contract with larger order quantities, so the supplier agrees to lower the price for the business owner. You've probably had an argument with a friend about choosing a restaurant. You want pizza, while they want sushi. Instead of stubbornly defending your position, you could ask why they prefer sushi. It turns out they want something light and healthy. At this point, you could suggest a light, healthy option, like salad or another type of Japanese dish. This is a win-win solution. So why is the win-win tactic so important? Because it helps us shift from a competitive, confrontational mindset to a cooperative one. When you focus on creating value for both sides, you not only achieve better results, but also build a longer-term, more sustainable relationship. To truly apply the win-win tactic, you need to understand both parties' interests and motivations. When you understand what the other party truly needs, you can come up with creative solutions that both sides can accept. Don't just focus on winning for yourself. Think about how you can create an outcome that both sides are happy with. So, the next time you face a negotiation, remember that there isn't always a clear-cut division between win and lose. Sometimes, cooperation and creativity can produce a result that benefits both sides. Now let's dive into the next tactic, one that helps you not only protect your interests, but also build strong relationships. Focus on interests, not positions. Tactic 4. Focus on interests, not positions. The next tactic I want to share with you is one of the most important in any negotiation. Focus on interests, not positions. This is a core mindset that we need to understand, as it can change the way we approach and resolve issues in negotiations. When you negotiate, each party usually presents their position. For example, you may want $50,000 for a job, while your boss only wants to offer $40,000. But if you only defend your position without understanding why the other party is offering that salary, you won't be able to reach a good agreement for both sides. Instead of just defending your position, you need to explore the interests behind that position. Interests are the real reasons each party makes their demands. When you focus on interests, you can find creative solutions that benefit both parties, instead of just arguing to protect your position. Imagine you and your friends are debating which restaurant to choose. You want pizza, but they want sushi. If you only defend your position, the argument will just revolve around choosing between pizza and sushi. However, if you ask why they want sushi, you might discover that they want something light and healthy. At this point, you could suggest having a salad or another type of Japanese dish, and the issue is resolved without anyone having to sacrifice their preference. In a salary negotiation, if you only ask for a higher salary without understanding why the company can't offer that amount, you won't be able to come up with a reasonable solution. However, if you explore why the company is offering a lower salary, you might find that they have budget constraints. At this point, you could propose other benefits like vacation days, remote work, or career development training, which benefits both you and the company. Focusing on interests instead of positions makes the negotiation more flexible and creative. You're no longer just defending your viewpoint. Instead, you're seeking solutions that can satisfy both parties, making everyone better off. This increases the chances of success and creates a better collaborative environment. The next time you face a negotiation, try applying this tactic. Instead of just defending your position, try to understand the true interests behind the other party's demands. When you do this, you'll discover collaborative opportunities you never thought of before. Now, let's move on to another tactic: fair standards. Using fair standards to ensure the negotiation stays on track and is not influenced by emotions. Tactic 5: Fair standards. Using fair standards. The next tactic I want to share with you is fair standards. Using fair standards in negotiations to ensure everything is handled reasonably and objectively. This is a tactic that helps keep the negotiation on track and avoids emotions or personal factors from influencing decisions. In a negotiation, sometimes emotions or bias can affect your decision-making. To keep the negotiation fair and effective, you need to use fair standards, such as market data, industry norms, or third-party evaluations, to support your requests and make it easier for the other party to accept your solution. For example, if you're negotiating rent with a landlord, and the landlord asks for $2,000 per month but you only want to pay $1,500, instead of just arguing, you could suggest looking at rental prices in nearby areas or refer to market research to show that a reasonable price would be $1,750 per month. By introducing a fair standard, you make the negotiation more objective and reduce the tension. Similarly, in a salary negotiation, if the company cannot meet your salary request, you can find fair standards from industry surveys or average salaries in the region to prove that your request is reasonable. This not only helps you build a strong argument, but also makes it easier for the company to accept the deal. When you introduce fair standards, the negotiation becomes more transparent and understandable. You no longer have to rely on emotions or personal opinions. Instead, you're using objective factors that both parties can refer to and agree on. This makes the decision more rational and reduces the likelihood of disputes. However, you need to ensure that the fair standard you use is one that both parties agree on and find reasonable. If you present a standard that's too high or too low, the other party might feel manipulated or that it's unfair. Always make sure that both you and the other party can agree on the standard you propose. So, the next time you enter a negotiation, remember to use fair standards to support your request. This will not only help you negotiate reasonably but also help you build trust and respect from the other party. Now, let's explore the next tactic, one that helps you resolve conflicts and issues in negotiations without damaging relationships. Separate people from the problem. Tactic 6. Separate people from the problem. The next tactic I want to share with you is separate people from the problem. This is one of the most important tactics to keep negotiations from being influenced by emotions and helps you focus on solving the problem rather than confronting each other. In negotiations, sometimes personal conflicts can derail the entire conversation. When you feel attacked, you might respond defensively or even retaliate, making the negotiation tense and ineffective. That's why the tactic of separating people from the problem is so crucial. The goal of this tactic is to help keep the negotiation focused on solving the problem instead of bringing personal emotions into it. Imagine you're a manager and two of your colleagues are in conflict over a project. One person thinks the other is lazy, while the other believes your expectations are unrealistic. If you allow personal emotions to get in the way, you might choose sides, but that will only complicate things further. Instead, you need to separate the personal conflicts and guide the conversation towards how to distribute the work more effectively so the project can be completed on time. Suppose you're negotiating a contract with a partner. If the negotiation becomes tense and both sides start criticizing each other, you need to immediately redirect the conversation and emphasize that the goal is not to attack individuals but to resolve the shared issue. Create a collaborative environment where both sides focus on solving the problem instead of getting bogged down by personal emotions. Separating people from the problem helps you maintain a clear and objective mindset. When you don't let emotions control the situation, you'll be able to find reasonable solutions that lead to better outcomes for both parties. The important thing is to remember that negotiations are about solving problems, not personal battles. Always keep in mind that your counterpart is not your enemy. They are a partner in solving the problem. Treat them as a collaborator, not an opponent. This will help keep the negotiation in a positive and productive space. So, when you face tense situations in negotiations, try applying this tactic. Separate the problem from personal emotions and focus on solving the issue rather than criticizing each other. This will help maintain a positive relationship and enable more successful negotiations. Next, we'll explore a highly useful tactic for creating flexibility in agreements, called bundling issues. Tactic 7: Bundling issues. The next tactic I want to share with you is bundling issues, which means combining multiple issues in a negotiation. This is an extremely effective tactic that allows you to create room for more flexible agreements between both parties. Instead of focusing on just one issue, bundling issues allows you to incorporate multiple factors into a single negotiation. This opens up opportunities for more trade-offs and creative solutions, leading to mutually beneficial outcomes. By bundling issues together, you create flexibility in the negotiation because each party can find something they value and are willing to compromise on. Imagine you're negotiating a salary increase with your boss. Your boss tells you that the company's budget is limited and they cannot meet your requested salary. Instead of continuing to argue over just the salary, you could bundle in other requests such as additional vacation days, remote work options, or career development opportunities. This way, you not only secure a reasonable salary but also gain other benefits that matter to you. Similarly, if you're negotiating a contract with a business partner, instead of just focusing on price, you could expand the negotiation to include factors like delivery timelines, product quality, or after-sales support. When you bundle these elements together, you create opportunities for both parties to make concessions while maintaining a long-term partnership. Since each party has different priorities, bundling issues allows you to find agreements that address multiple needs simultaneously. This approach helps create outcomes that all parties are satisfied with, rather than struggling to agree on just one issue. However, you need to be strategic when bundling issues. If you introduce too many issues without proper preparation, the other party might feel overwhelmed or pressured, which could backfire. Be sure to identify the right issues to bundle and choose those that provide room for flexibility in the negotiation. So, the next time you enter a negotiation, try bundling issues. Combining multiple issues can open up more opportunities and help you secure a better deal. This approach enables you to find solutions without being stuck on a single point of contention. Now, let's explore the next tactic, one that helps you create an advantage in negotiations: power of silence, the strength of silence. Tactic 8: Power of silence, the strength of silence. The next tactic is one of the most subtle yet incredibly effective ones: power of silence. You might think that in negotiations, the more you talk, the better your chances of reaching a deal, but in reality, silence can be a powerful tool to create a significant change. Silence in negotiations can have a powerful effect because people often feel the need to fill gaps in conversation. When you remain silent, you create a small amount of tension, making the other party feel uncomfortable and potentially leading them to make concessions or even reveal additional information that can benefit you. Imagine you're negotiating the price of a car. The seller asks for $25,000, and you feel the price is too high. Instead of responding immediately, you simply sit back, remain silent, and look at the seller. After a short period, the seller may start feeling uncomfortable with the silence and might offer a price reduction or better terms. Similarly, in a job negotiation, when you make a salary request and the other party seems uncomfortable, try staying silent and let them respond. They might provide insights into why they can't meet your request, or even offer a better proposal to keep you interested. Silence in negotiations creates tension and forces the other party to fill the gap with words or actions that could work in your favor. Moreover, it shows that you are confident and not rushing, which could prompt them to adjust their offer and make concessions. However, you need to use silence naturally and not in an overly forced manner. If you stay silent for too long or seem uncomfortable, the other party may feel awkward, and the negotiation could stall. Use silence tactfully to create change without making the other party feel pressured. Try applying the power of silence in your next negotiation. You'll be surprised by how effective this tactic is and may notice a significant change in how you reach an agreement. Next, we'll look at a small but incredibly useful tactic to make the other party reconsider their proposals: the flinch. Tactic 9: the flinch, the unexpected reaction. The next tactic I want to share with you is the flinch, also known as the unexpected reaction. This is an incredibly simple yet highly effective tactic, especially when the other party presents an offer that is too high or unreasonable. The flinch is when you express surprise or dissatisfaction at an offer made by the other party. Instead of immediately agreeing or outright rejecting it, you react in a way that makes them realize their proposal might be excessive or unreasonable. A small gesture, such as raising your eyebrows or leaning back slightly, can create a significant shift in the negotiation. For example, imagine you're negotiating the price of a used car, and the seller quotes $15,000. Instead of instantly objecting or agreeing, you can use the flinch, raise your eyebrows and say, $15,000? in a surprised tone. This reaction forces the seller to reconsider their price, as they now realize that their offer might not align with your expectations. Similarly, in a business contract negotiation, if a partner presents a clause that seems unfair, you can respond with subtle body language, such as furrowing your brows or sighing. These small cues signal to them that their proposal might not be acceptable, encouraging them to reconsider and adjust their terms. The flinch makes the other party feel slightly uncomfortable, prompting them to reassess the fairness of their request. People are naturally influenced by social cues and feel uneasy when they sense disapproval. By showing surprise or slight discontent, you can nudge them toward making a more reasonable offer or adjusting their demands. The key to successfully using the flinch is keeping your reaction natural and not over-exaggerating. If you overreact or appear insincere, the other party might recognize the tactic and feel manipulated. A subtle, authentic response is what makes this strategy truly effective. Try using the flinch in your next negotiation. You'll be amazed at how a simple, unexpected reaction can shift the conversation in your favor and help you secure a better deal. Now, let's move on to another powerful tactic that encourages collaboration and motivates the other party to make concessions: reciprocal concessions, the give and take strategy. Tactic 10: reciprocal concessions, the give and take strategy. The next tactic I want to share is reciprocal concessions, also known as the give and take strategy. This is one of the most effective tactics for fostering cooperation in negotiations and helping both parties reach an agreement that feels fair and satisfying. Reciprocal concessions is simply the process where you make a small concession, and the other party feels obligated to respond by making a concession in return. This tactic is based on the principle of fairness and reciprocity. When you offer a concession, the other party is more likely to do the same to maintain cooperation and avoid being perceived as unfair. Imagine you're negotiating a contract with a business partner. You want a lower price, but instead of immediately demanding the lowest possible price, you start by making a small concession, such as requesting a slight discount while agreeing to other terms. The other party will see your action as fair and will feel inclined to reciprocate, perhaps by offering a price reduction or including additional free services. Similarly, in a salary negotiation, you might start by requesting a higher salary than what you actually want. If your employer cannot meet your initial request, you can make a concession by slightly lowering your salary demand while requesting additional benefits such as extra vacation days, professional development opportunities, or remote work options. This concession makes your employer feel obligated to reciprocate and offer something in return, leading to a mutually beneficial agreement. Reciprocal concessions helps create a collaborative rather than adversarial environment. When both parties feel they are gaining something, negotiations flow more smoothly, and agreements are reached more easily. The key is to make strategic concessions, not just lower your demands, but create opportunities for both parties to benefit. When applying this tactic, you must carefully evaluate the timing and extent of your concessions. Making concessions too early or too generously can make the other party feel no obligation to reciprocate. Ensure that your concessions are strategic and valuable without compromising what is most important to you. Try using reciprocal concessions in your negotiations. You'll notice that when you make reasonable concessions, the other party will feel responsible for reciprocating, leading to a win-win outcome. Now, let's explore another fascinating tactic that helps build trust and rapport with the other party: mirroring, repeating the other party's words to build trust. Tactic 11: Mirroring, repeating the other party's words. The next tactic I want to share with you is mirroring, or repeating the other party's words. This is a simple but highly effective psychological tactic for building trust and making the other party feel like you are truly listening to them. Mirroring is when you naturally respond to what the other party just said, using similar words or repeating the question they posed. Surprisingly, this tactic can help you build a better relationship, make the other party feel understood, and create a stronger connection during the negotiation. Imagine in a job negotiation, the counterpart says, "We need to complete this project in 30 days. Instead of rushing to agree or disagree, you could reply by saying, 30 days? This naturally encourages the other party to elaborate on why and how they arrived at that timeline, giving you more information to make a better informed decision. In a buying negotiation, the seller might say, "The price of this product is $100. Instead of immediately responding, you could say, "$100? This prompts the seller to explain why the price is set at that level and might lead them to offer a discount or add some extra value to the deal. Mirroring works effectively because it creates the feeling of being heard and understood. When you repeat what the other party says, they feel respected and are more likely to open up, share additional information, or make concessions. This is a great way to build trust and make negotiations smoother. An important note is that you need to use mirroring naturally and not in an overt or forced manner. If you repeat too obviously or insincerely, the other party may feel uncomfortable. Let it happen organically, as part of the conversation, and you'll see its effectiveness. Try incorporating mirroring into your next negotiation. You'll be amazed at how simply repeating a few words can create a deeper connection with the other party. Next, let's explore a powerful tactic for creating pressure and encouraging action in negotiations: deadline pressure, the power of time pressure. Tactic 12: Deadline pressure, the power of time pressure. The next tactic I want to share is deadline pressure, using time constraints to create urgency and push the other party to make decisions quickly. Deadline pressure is a simple yet highly effective psychological tactic. When you set a clear deadline in a negotiation, you create a sense of urgency, making the other party feel pressured to act fast. People naturally fear missing out on opportunities and tend to make decisions faster when faced with a strict time frame. Imagine you're negotiating to buy a car. The seller tells you, "We have another buyer interested in this car, and they will make a decision within 24 hours. This statement creates time pressure, making you feel the need to act quickly to avoid losing the opportunity. As a result, you may decide to finalize the purchase faster or even offer a better price. In a business contract negotiation, you can create time pressure by saying, "We need a final decision on this contract by the end of the week to ensure it doesn't impact our project timeline." This time constraint forces your counterpart to make a quicker decision, increasing the likelihood of securing the deal on favorable terms. Deadline pressure works because it generates a sense of urgency, prompting people to act faster, especially when they believe they might miss out on an opportunity. This can encourage the other party to make decisions more quickly and even accept terms they might have hesitated on before. However, you must use this tactic wisely. If the time pressure feels too forced or is overused, the other party may feel manipulated and lose trust in you. The key is to set a realistic and reasonable deadline and avoid overusing this tactic, as it could backfire. Leverage deadline pressure in your next negotiation, and you'll see how it pushes the other party to act faster. Setting a clear time frame can provide the necessary motivation to close a deal quickly and in your favor. Now, let's explore the final tactic in this video, one that helps you create personal connections and build trust in negotiations: building rapport, establishing strong relationships. Tactic 13: building rapport, establishing strong relationships. The final tactic I want to share with you is building rapport, establishing strong relationships. This is an incredibly important strategy because negotiation is not just about numbers or contract terms. It's also about building trust and connection with the other party. Building rapport helps create a positive and cooperative negotiation environment. When you have a good relationship with the other party, they will feel more comfortable, be more willing to share information, and even make concessions. A strong relationship shifts the dynamic from being opponents to being partners in the negotiation. Imagine you're negotiating a contract with a new business partner. Instead of diving straight into the contract terms, you start the conversation by learning a bit about them, asking about their interests, their company, or even their family. These small, personal conversations help create a human connection, making them feel more at ease and open to discussing the deal. If you're negotiating the price of a product, instead of immediately throwing out numbers and demanding a discount, you could start by asking about the seller, their work, or even their family situation. A simple question like, "How has work been for you lately?" can help break the ice and show that you care about them as a person, not just as a business transaction. This approach fosters a friendly and cooperative atmosphere. Strong relationships build trust, and when trust is present, negotiations become much easier. People are naturally more likely to cooperate and make concessions when they feel comfortable and trust the person they are negotiating with. This leads to better outcomes and the development of long-term, sustainable partnerships. However, rapport building must be genuine. If you appear insincere or overly strategic in your questions, the other party may feel manipulated. Always keep conversations natural, and ensure that your interest in the other person is authentic rather than just a means to achieve your own objectives. So, the next time you step into a negotiation, remember that building rapport can set the stage for success. A solid relationship makes both parties feel at ease and more willing to reach an agreement. Final thoughts. As you can see, negotiation is not just about making demands and closing deals. It's about fostering collaboration, trust, and meaningful connections with the other party. The tactics I've shared with you, from BATNA and anchoring to win-win strategies and power of silence, will help you become a skilled, confident, and effective negotiator. Apply these strategies in both your professional and personal life, and you'll soon realize that securing better deals and reaching successful agreements is not as difficult as it seems. You absolutely have the power to do it. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on more valuable content. Good luck with all your negotiations, and remember, negotiation is an art, and you are the artist.